Okay, boys and girls, we're going to learn about the inverse relationship between addition and subtraction. So if I had 3 apples and Mr. Priolo had 2 apples, altogether we have 5 apples, which is the sum. If I ate my 3 apples, we no longer have 5 apples. So I'm going to take the sum, the total number of apples that we have all together, subtract the apples that I ate, which is 3, will leave me with what Mr. Priolo has, which is 2. Or we can take the total number of apples, which is 5, subtract what Mr. Priolo ate, which is his 2 apples, will leave me with what I have, 3 apples. So we call this the inverse relationship. If you take the sum and subtract one of the parts, you'll be left with the other part. So 5 subtract 2 will equal 3, or 5 subtract 3 will equal the 2. Let's do one more with bigger numbers. 12 plus 22 equals 34. So I have 12 apples. Mr. Priolo has 22 apples. Altogether we have 34 apples, which is the sum. I have 12, Mr. Priolo has 22, altogether we have 34. If I ate my 12 apples, I'm going to take the total number of apples that we have, subtract what I ate, and that will leave you with what Mr. Priolo has. Or, if Mr. Priolo ate his apples, but I kept mine, 34 apples altogether, minus what Mr. Priolo ate will equal what I still have left, which is 12. So the sum minus Mr. Priolo's part will equal what I still have, which is 12. So 34 subtract 12 is equal 22, or the sum minus this part will equal this part. Right, so 34 subtract 22 is 12, 34 subtract 12 is 22. Now if I have 12 apples and Mr. Priolo has 12 apples, we can switch sides. It doesn't matter because we're not adding apples, we're not taking away apples. So the sum is not going to change. We're just switching sides. Okay, let's just do one more to make sure you understand. So again, apples. If I have 15 apples, and Mr. Priolo has 5 apples, altogether we have 20 apples. That is the sum. So I have 15, Mr. Priolo has 5, altogether we have 20. So 20 apples altogether. If I ate mine, I have to subtract 15 from the total because I ate 15. That is going to leave us with Mr. Priolo's 5 apples. Or if we have, Mr. Priolo and I, if we have 20 apples altogether and Mr. Priolo ate his 5, we are still left with my 15. And again, Mr. Priolo and I, we can switch spots. It doesn't matter. Right? The sum's not going to change. We're just changing spots, but we're not taking away or adding apples. So 20 subtract 5 is 15, and 20 subtract 15 is 5. And that is the inverse relationship between addition and subtraction. Okay, and in the next video, we'll be looking at solving equations or mystery numbers, so stay tuned.